Hi guys, welcome to Crazy Burger. In this video we're going to be looking at the latest Evercade Alpha firmware update, and there's some interesting stuff in here. Some of the games that we originally reported as being unsupported games, a couple of them are now playable and they're really good ones. Some of the secret game stuff has been fixed as well, amongst a few other details. Okay guys, so let's have a look at the details of I think this is probably the second actual update to the alpha firmware. So basically the previous game of the month has been removed and now we have a new game of the month. Now, I'm not really sure this is specifically for the alpha and whether it will actually work that great on the alpha. It is just a point and click game, so it should be alright. This is Batty Zabella. It's a Game Boy style point and click game, and there's new upcoming cartridges added into the library, and there's a coin limiter for Evercade Alpha built-in games. I'll go over that within the actual video. Also some fixes to Turbo Fire and High Score saving for arcade cartridges. Now, not all arcade games support high score saving. I'm not really sure which ones do and which one don't. It would be nice to actually get a list. But that Turbo Fire feature is really nice, especially for all those sort of tour plan shoot 'em ups. It's just great to have the Y button. Just hold that down and you can concentrate in the actual game. It does make a huge difference if you're not particularly great at shooters like me. It's definitely helped me make some progress. Now that might be a combination of the new alpha and this Turbo Fire feature. Personally, I think it's made a massive difference to me. There's also improvements to the library feature and improvements to translation for all languages. No idea what that means. I'm not sure what exactly they've changed. It would be great to get some more details on that. There's updated button combinations for the hidden games on Evercade Alpha. Now, if you don't want to know what that is, then you might want to skip that section altogether in this video, or just completely stop watching. I don't mind. But obviously, if you watched our review video, there are, I think, 9 hidden games, plus there was the Maniac Squares prototype that you couldn't activate because the alpha doesn't have the shoulder buttons L2 and R2, which were used to activate these games. So I will unlock these games in this video and show you what you need to do if you want to actually play those games. The button combinations are similar but a little bit different. Basically, you're just holding down a few extra buttons to activate those secret games. One of the games is Gotris, which is a Master System game, and the other one is Maniac Squares from the GAT Elco Arcade 2 collection, but we will cover that in a minute. Also, the biggest news probably from this takeaway is there are now a couple of extra games that were not supported before are now playable on the Evercade Alpha. That is Duke Nukem 1 and 2 Remastered and Dodo. That is massive because the games are brilliant and they play really well on the Alpha. I've already tried them and they're great stuff, especially Dodo. That is actually an arcade style game and it's fantastic stuff, and we will play through this in this video as well. Now, they are working on further native games that are not quite supported on the Alpha, and hopefully we will get some more updates as we sort of get towards day one, or launch day, which is the 28th of November 2024. Hopefully that will we'll get some more of those games playable. I think there's maybe another 4 games that are not quite playable. Cathedral is one of them. I'm not really sure games like Cathedral is perfect sort of games for your alpha, but nonetheless they will be available once we get the fix. Hopefully that won't be too long. And there's an extra note at the end there: external controllers are not currently supported in Dodo. We are working with the developers of each native game to implement improvements and the better input handling required for Evercade Alpha. Now, that's probably one of the most important parts there, the input handling, because you're now using a joystick. The handling is very different to a D-pad. Now, some games just won't work that great on that joystick. Some games will work even better. Anyway, it's a bit hit and miss. The arcade games are all fine, but anything out with that, it might be a little bit hit and miss and might need further support down the line to make the games a little bit more playable. As soon as we get some updates, we will obviously get those firmware updates sent to your alpha, hopefully very soon, and all the games will be supported. Anyway guys, let's have a look at some of those secret games. If you don't want to know what the secret games are, feel free to jump past this section and go to the next section in the video. Okay, so evercade.info is where all the details are for your secrets, hidden games, Easter eggs, that type of thing. Now, if you don't want to know, you want to discover all these hidden games by yourself, then you feel free not to watch this at all. And this will work on your alpha as well. There's a couple of changes that I will have to highlight. The first one here would be Gortrus, which is obviously you need to hold down L2 and R2 plus select to activate Gortrus. Basically, you have to be on the main cart screen on your chosen device. Now, on the alpha, we don't have L2 and R2, so that is a little bit different. Now, basically, they've just changed it. It's basically L1 and R1 plus select, and you will unlock Gortrus. So they've basically just made that a little subtle change to that. Now, there's a lot of different sort of stuff here to unlock it. There's sort of secrets that are a bit pointless, but they're there nonetheless. The other one that we need to look at is the Maniac Squares change, which is down at the bottom here. We've got choose Maniac Squares. This is from Gatelco Arcade 2 collection. Now, previously it was holding down L1, L2, R1 and R2 at the same time. But it's just slightly different. Basically, you're holding down L1, R1, and I think it's A and B, but we'll cover that in a little minute in the video. I can't quite remember. Once we get to that section, I'll cover that in more detail. But that's basically the details. Let's quickly jump to Gortrus, and then we'll have a look at Maniac Squares prototype. Okay guys, so let's get started with the secret games. Now, the first one we're going to look at is Gortrus, which is a Master System game. And now previously it was R2 and L2 and select on the cartridge screen. So make sure you're on the cartridge screen here and just press L1 and R1 and then press select at the same time, and it will open up Gortrus, which is kind of like a Tetris style, column style game, and it's actually pretty decent.
Tailtrace.
Okay, so that's us unlocked all the secret games for the device. Now, there's obviously the other game, Maniac Squares, we'll have a look at as well, how to unlock that. So let's get the Gatelco arcade cart into the alpha, and I'll show you how to actually unlock that game if you want to play it. Okay, so go to Maniac Square, just choose that, make sure you're on this screen here. Now, to unlock Maniac Square Prototype, maybe arguably the better game, hold down L1, R1, and X and Y at the same time, and that will unlock Maniac Square Prototype, and then you can play that as normal. It's a little bit different to the main game. You can also play it as a two-player game if you want to connect another joypad. Pretty cool game. Okay, so before we move on, we're going to have a look at some of the other stuff that's here. So there was some changes to this, the inbuilt games. I think they added the coin limiter. You can see it's at the top there. If you want to limit yourself to the amount of coins, obviously add yourself a bit of challenge. Just choose that, and then you can limit yourself to as many coins as you think. Maybe limit to 5, have a competition with someone, and then see how it goes. Personally, I don't really bother with that one, but it's there if you want to use it, and that's been added, which is quite nice. Now, there's been some changes to the library as well. Now, you can see here we now have the new Game of the Month for November, which is Bat Isabella, which is a Game Boy point-and-click adventure game. I'll have a quick look at it. I'm not really sure it'd be that great on your alpha, but anyway, let's have a quick look at it. So it's a bit weird playing Game Boy games on an arcade type machine, but it does work. Obviously control the cursor with the joystick, it works absolutely fine. Not really sure this is the best device to play it on, but it's there if you want to play it. So there's obviously been some changes to the library as well. They've added in the new games coming out in December. We've got Tour Planet Arcade 4 and Metal Dragon Life on Mars. And they've apparently made some changes as well to the library here and there. I'm not entirely sure what that is. But it's nice to actually see that. If you want to sort of browse through the games without going onto the website, it's quite nice to sort of see all the games listed here, and you can sort of categorise them in a different way if you want to see the different sort of action games, or you want to see adventure games, that type of thing, beat 'em ups. No, it's a nice touch. Obviously, if you're new to Evercade and you want to know what's out there, what you can actually play. So this next section we're going to be looking at the Turbo Fire feature and the high score saving that's been added to this latest firmware update. Now they've been trying to do this for basically the last year, and we've had some issues here and there, but finally I'm glad to say that it does work, and it works really well. Nice timing for your new Evercade Alpha, that's for sure. Now if you want to use the Turbo Fire feature, basically you hold down the Y button here. If you just want standard shooting, if it's just the B button, and then I think your special move is usually the A button. Now the high score save feature doesn't work with every single game. It only works with a certain few. I'm not sure which ones it does work with, so if you obviously have issues, let me know in the comment if it doesn't actually work, and then obviously let Blaze know. Reach out to them at support@evercade.co.uk. But basically I'm just holding down the Y button to use the auto fire function. It definitely makes things a heck of a lot easier and will stop thumb fatigue whilst playing some of these games. I say thumb, I'm actually using my middle finger here. Anyway, enough said. Finger fatigue. Have to say, I think playing these games on the Alpha is definitely the way to go. It feels so much better with the joystick. You can make swift movement a little bit easier. It doesn't make the games easier, they're still rock solid hard, and I'm never going to be an amazing player at these, sadly, but anyway, somehow I'm still alive. Now if you set a high score in some of these games, it should automatically save without you having to utilise the save states. It should save automatically to the game. If you can see here, obviously, hopefully it'll go round to the actual high score table. I've been in and out of this game, set a high score, went out, and hopefully my name will appear at the top of the leaderboard. You can see here I've got my name at the top of the list, and I reached area 16 whilst playing this game, which is pretty cool. It's a nice feature. Obviously if you want to have that sort of unique arcade experience, it's nice to see your score still there, and then you can have something to always beat without having to utilise the save states. You can play it as it should be. Okay guys, so the next section we're going to look at those games that are now supported on the Alpha. Now the first one I'm going to be looking at is Duke Nukem 1 and 2 Remastered. When I first tried, or in my review video, Duke Nukem 1 and 2 Remastered was not supported. Now this is a natively running game. It basically needed a few more tweaks by Blaze to get this up and running. And now happy to say it does now work on the Evercade Alpha. Now Duke Nukem 3 is probably not the one to play here, but Duke Nukem 1 and 2 Remastered, definitely a joy to play. Now I know there'll be a lot of people probably wanting to play this sort of kart, or this game anyway, or these games on the Alpha, and I have to say that it does work really well with the joystick. And I'm not really sure, I thought the graphics looked a little bit rougher around the edges playing it on this screen than it was on like the EXP, but it still handles really well on the joystick. Now this is the original sort of game that's been remastered for the Evercade systems. That Blaze have spent a long time. This was released last year and I absolutely loved it. I would probably rate this as one of my most favourite karts overall. But obviously on the Alpha, Duke Nukem 3D doesn't really play that great on a joystick, but you can obviously attach a joypad and play the game that way. But I have to say, this game still plays great on the joystick, rather than even going to the effort to put in a joypad. It still performs really well on the joystick here. It's a very addictive game. And one that I've put a lot of time into. I absolutely loved it when it was released late last year. Okay, so to come out you really just have to pause the game, scroll all the way down to quit, and then you can go back to the main screen. Then you can choose Duke Nukem 2 and start our game here. Choose Ruby. This is basically more the same. I think graphically it's a little bit better and you can actually duck within the game. There's definitely a lot more improvements to the first game, but personally I think the first game is more fun to play. You can see graphically it is much improved. You can obviously aim all over the place and you can duck. So there's a lot more going on in this game. Obviously it is a little bit harder as well. But yeah, still an amazing fun game and works great on the joystick without you having to utilise adding in a D-pad, or adding in a controller, sorry. Okay guys, so finally we're going to have a look at Indie Heroes Collection 3, and specifically to play this game, Dodo, which is actually an arcade style sort of platformer, and it's fantastic fun. And I'm glad they've now finally got this working on the alpha. And one of the things I was curious about, how does it handle on the joystick? And I have to say, it handles really surprisingly well. I thought it would be maybe a little bit oversensitive, but it's really easy to handle. Negotiating the ladders, jumping is fine, everything about it, it's brilliant. I'm actually surprised that this game works really well on the joystick, because it's not really an original arcade game. It was one of those games that's obviously mimicking the old style arcade games of the sort of 80s, I think it was. Anyway guys, thanks for watching our video. It's great to see these games now working on the alpha. Thanks for watching, bye for now.